Welcome, everybody. We're here at Ballin with Bill Dannenhauer, and thank you, Sideline Power, for this opportunity to interview a fine gentleman. Known this man quite a long time, and he's quite a person, good man. Jeff Jamrog, the head coach at Midland University. Welcome, Jeff.
Bill, it's great to be on your show today.
Okay, yeah, it's great to have you. I always like to start off and ask you how you got started in back when you were a kid, and I know you played at Mount Michael before you went to Nebraska, so I'd let you kind of start from the beginning, Coach, and how you all got involved in football, and it's been your life.
Yeah, it sure has. I mean, I think I started football, flag football in about fifth grade, and played youth football, and then played for a legendary high school coach, Jim Kane at Mount Michael.
God, I forgot that name.
Yeah, was a great coach, great man, pushed you to the limits, and no doubt had a huge impact on my life, and had a good high school career. We won state my senior year at Mount Michael, and had some options, had a couple full ride offers, and always wanted to play at University of Nebraska. And I'll never forget when I went down on the visit to see Coach Osborne, brought me in the office, and he said this, and I'm glad he said it, but it also upset me. He said, Jeff, if we had one more scholarship, you'd be the guy. And I said, well, I wish you had one more, but they didn't. And I don't think he used that line with any other players, but it certainly worked out well for me walking on. Had some goals when I walked on. First one was I wanted to earn a scholarship, wanted to be an academic All-American, and I wanted to start. And fortunately, all those three things happened. And so I'm glad I did it, and worked out well for me.
Well, talk a little bit about your career at Nebraska. So I know you guys won a lot of games, had a lot of fun out there. So talk a little bit about that. And I know you were an outside linebacker, right?
Yeah, I was an outside linebacker. First couple of years was coached by George Darlington, and then my junior year, Tony Samuel came in from Stanford University and coached me my last 2 years. And it was they had JV ball or freshman ball back then, so. It's a little bit different now where they don't have that.
We used to play UNO. We played you guys
absolutely.
freshman ball,
Absolutely. So played freshman ball, and then the second year redshirted.
Right.
And then, it was a 3-year letterman, and was on a lot of good football teams. We were number one in the country and undefeated, and played Oklahoma and lost that game 17-7. And it was a tough game there. But then we went out and played in the Fiesta Bowl, and that was a tough one as well. We were up, I think, I'm trying to remember the score, 28-24, getting ready to score, and we fumbled on the one, and then they went down and drove 99 yards to win the game. But we still finished in, I don't know what we finished, 5th, 6th in the country. Right. So it was a lot of fun. And then after that, I had a postgraduate scholarship from the NCAA. Coach Osborne talked to me about being a graduate assistant.
Okay.
And, I got my degree in business, so I told my wife, hey, I'm going to get my MBA, and she thought in 2 years we were going to go to Wall Street, and 2 years later I went to Vermillion, South Dakota.
That's you went to USD.
Yeah, USD was my first coaching job, and boy, I tell you what, 2 years into it, you get your first taste of college football and athletics at the college level. I think the AD came in mid-season. There was a little turmoil. And he said, hey, don't worry. He goes, we're going to sink or swim with John Fritsch, our head coach. And about 4 weeks later, he got fired. And
that's right.
New head coach came in and said, I'm going to evaluate you through the recruiting process. And if you do a good job, you'll stay. If not, I'll be hiring someone else. And luckily I did a good job, kept on there. And then obviously.
Who came in as head coach?
It was Denny Crehan.
Okay, Crehan.
It was Denny Crehan came in, and I was there 2 years, and then got the call from Pat Burns at UNO.
That's right.
That's when Bob was the AD.
Yeah.
And really enjoyed my time at UNO. Really thought I'd be there for a while. I'm from Omaha. Really enjoyed the UNO experience. Loved it. We took over a program that was on tough times. It was first year we went 1-10 if I remember right. Second year we recruited a lot of good players. Went 3-8. Then the third year was when we went 10-2, and we won the North Central Conference outright for the first time in school history, and went to the playoffs, and that was a really good experience. And that's when Tony Samuel, then after that season, got the head job at New Mexico State, and offered me the defensive coordinator job, and a lot of Nebraska ties. You'll know a lot of those names that were on that staff with Tony. I mean, Jerry Godowski was the quarterback coach. Barney Cotton was the O coordinator. Steve Standard, who's now at K-State, was a D-line coach. Bill Bush was a secondary coach. He's now safety coach at LSU. And Rich Glover was the D-line coach. And I missed a couple other names there. But it was a great experience working for Tony. Was there 3 football seasons. And then in 2000, had a chance to come back to Nebraska and work for Coach Solich. And that was a great experience as well. Unfortunately, didn't end the greatest, but
that's we debate that all. That should never happen.
Yeah, it did happen, but you know what? One door closes in life, another one opens. Yeah. And after that, I had a chance to go up to Minnesota State Mankato as the head coach there for 4 football seasons. Enjoyed it. Then they cut scholarships, went to the Northern Sun. Didn't really like how that all.
That's when the North Central imploded,
exactly.
Right?
Yep. And then. Came down to University of Nebraska. Was there 7 football seasons with Coach Pelini as the assistant AD for football. Enjoyed my time with Coach Osborne when he was the AD, and then obviously when he left, things kind of changed with the administration and
of course,
And I was out of it for about 6 months, and then had the opportunity to come back to come to Midland University, and can't say enough about the people at Midland. Starting with the president, Jody Horner's phenomenal. And then Dave Gillespie's the athletic director.
Right. And Dave, you worked with Dave at Nebraska, right?
Yes. Yeah, worked with Dave at Nebraska, and just great people there at Midland. First time I've ever coached at a private school.
It's the difference.
It is different. Sent my kids to a private high school, and you kind of run out of that kind of money to be able to send them to a private college unless they get a scholarship.
Right.
And none of my kids got that scholarship. But yeah, it's boy, there's a lot of good things about a private school at the college level. And I'll just give you an example. You can't, if I was at Nebraska and say, hey, call up a teacher to see if Adrian Martinez went to class today, you would probably read about me in the paper. I'd have been fired later that day.
Oh, yeah.
At Midland, we have teachers call us. We can call them. We have a system where every day it tracks all our players. So teachers log in every day, and so we know exactly how they're doing in the class. Attendance, all those different things. We're able to stay on top of it in real time. And I talk to some other coaches at other places, and sometimes they'll get the information we get, but it's well after the fact. And so that's just one example of it.
That's cool. I got an interesting question. Just because of your background, you were always on the defensive side of the ball. You were a coordinator, D-line coach too, weren't you?
Right.
You do that, linebackers. You've done all that. And then when you were at Nebraska, you were the assistant AD for football for all those years. Tell me how all that experience, because you got a wide variety of experience. It kind of helped you on your head coaching pursuit. Because then you also had head coach at Mankato State,
Right.
So you had that background in the North Central, which that time was the best conference.
Right. Oh, no
Division
doubt.
II.
Absolutely.
And when you were UNO, I mean, there
Right.
too, with North Dakota State, and
Right.
Northern Colorado, there wasn't a better conference in the nation in Division II at that time. And that was some real football.
Right.
Now they're all winning 1AA. North Dakota State's,
Right.
they're winning national championships.
Right.
So you look at that, then you look at your background in Nebraska, because I know I used to come up and see you because I was at Dan at the time,
Right.
and you got a lot of good administration in there. So how did that all tie in to where you are now as a coach?
Yeah, that's a great question. Before I dive into that, the other part of football that I've really enjoyed over the years is special teams.
That's right.
Going back to Denny Crehan at South Dakota when he came in, he goes, "Hey Jeff, I'm going to give you one of 2 options." He goes, "You can either be the academic coordinator or you can be the special teams coordinator. Which one you want?" And I told him, special teams.
Right.
And
I wouldn't want to be academic.
but so that was a really good experience and really propelled me to, over the years to be involved in that phase of football. It's an area where people talk a big game of how important it is, but they don't back it up.
That's right.
With
very true.
With how you practice, who's coaching it, do you have a coordinator, how you doing all those different types of things. But it's a big part of the football game, and so I've enjoyed that. The only thing I wish over the years maybe I would have jumped over at some point just to get the experience of the offense side of the ball.
That's always fine.
Yeah. But to go back, to Minnesota State when you're the head coach for the first time, and now you're seeing budgets and you're seeing all the different things that come across your desk
that you don't
every
see as
day.
assistant.
Right, that you don't see as an assistant. It's a new world. You instead of being a coordinator, maybe being in charge of 50, 60 young men, now as the head coach, and how big your roster is. Now there's the difference between Midland and Minnesota State. Minnesota State had Title IX issues.
Right.
And so they capped my roster right around 90.
Right, that's right.
Okay. And whereas Midland, we're a much bigger roster, kind of like Scott Frost down at Nebraska.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, I'd rather have a bigger roster than a smaller roster.
Right.
But that experience at Minnesota State, being a head coach, dealing with administration and all the different things, really was a pretty easy transition to go to University of Nebraska as the assistant AD in charge of the football program.
Now you run the budgets, travel, everything.
Right. Just a couple more zeros. Okay? A couple more zeros with that budget. But I enjoyed it.
Very true.
But I enjoyed the budget and kind of going back to my MBA background.
That's true.
I love numbers and enjoyed that part of it. And it does help you when you come back to be a football or head coach second time to have head coach experience, but also that administration, that 7 years of dealing with, Coach Ballin didn't want to deal with a lot of off the field.
No, he was on the field.
Yeah, he wanted to coach. He wanted to worry about the defense and the football team, and said, Jeff, you take care of this, this, and this. So the good part about that is I probably made a lot of head coach decisions because Bo really didn't care about some of those things, which is fine. I don't blame him in a lot of ways of that because he had enough on his plate, just dealing with the football side of it. So it was a great experience, and to have Coach Osborne there as the athletic director for whatever it was, 5 of those years. Yeah. And I think Sean Eichhorst came in the last 2, I believe. But I really enjoyed time with Coach Osborne. He usually
because you played with him too. Played for him.
Yeah, played for him, and then GA 2 years for Coach Osborne. And
were you under Charlie?
Yeah, I played well. Yeah, Charlie was the D coordinator.
So you were under him a lot then too.
Yes, Charlie was a great guy.
Charlie, when you finish up where you're going.
Oh yeah, no doubt. But yeah, it was. Charlie was a great coach, great person, and
tough as nails.
Oh yeah, he was. He was.
I remember the first time I went down, I was coaching the D line up at St. Cloud.
Okay.
This is my first opportunity to coach.
Right.
I went down there because my dad's school. See Charlie, he's a technique guy.
Right.
We went out there on the field and we worked technique. I mean,
right.
we worked it. Now, Bill, this is what he's just tough as nails.
Yes.
He'd already been coaching 10 years.
Yes, no doubt.
You saw why the players loved him because
No
he was tough.
Exactly.
And that's why I think your defenses were always tough because Charlie was tough.
Exactly. You have to be tough, physical, great effort.
Right.
Play with passion.
Yeah.
No doubt about it.
Yeah. And then you guys did all those years.
Right.
No doubt. I think you're a good resemblance of him.
Appreciate it.
You guys were, but I always enjoyed visiting with him, and then of course Boyd about the strength. So
right. Oh yeah.
No, Boyd definitely.
Yep.
But anyway, so you're at Midland. So how do you put this all together? Because you've accumulated a lot of knowledge through your years of coaching, Jeff. So how did you put it all together? Because Midland is a different situation because it's a private school and a lot of it's worked off of numbers and everything like that. So how did you devote your plan and start your successful way at Midland?
Yeah, we took over a rough program.
You did.
When I think the year before they won 1 game, the year before that 2, the year before 4.
Right.
But the first thing hired the best people available. I will say this: one person I really want to give a lot of kudos to. My first 2 years had a guy on our, I don't know if you know him or not, Jack Riggins.
I met Jack.
You met Jack. So Jack is a former Navy SEAL. He helped us when we were at University of Nebraska in the early years with Coach Ballin and throughout. But just a great guy. He coached our receivers, but really helped set the foundation of our football program and a lot of the mental toughness, discipline type things of just what it takes. And so Jack was a big influence. Our motto at Midland is the summit. In other words, we want to reach the pinnacle in everything we do. But we went out and recruited as many of the top players in the state of Nebraska as we could. We do have players on our team from other places, but the first thing was there were some guys that had an opportunity to not come back to Midland, whether they were graduating, but there was probably about 5 to 6 guys on that of that senior class that could have just said, you know what, I'm done with football. And I came in and spoke, and they said they told Dave Gillespie to listen to what I have to say in the first team meeting. And after the first team meeting, they say, Coach, we're all in. We're going to play our senior year for you. And we ended up having a winning football season. I'm proud to say there's 10 schools in the state of Nebraska. We're the only team the last 5 years that have had a winning season. And we got the most wins in the state the last 5 years. We've been kind of out of 10 teams in our league, though. We've been like a third place team.
And Morningside, they're tough to get. They've been good for a long time.
A long, long time. Steve Ryan's done a great job at Morningside. They've now won, they won a national title. And they're a really good football team. Northwestern's been the other team in our league the last couple of years that have finished second, gone to the playoffs. We played them close a couple of the years that 2 years ago we lost on the last second. We were up the whole game. So I think our kids are having fun at our place. We're getting them ready for the real world. I think that's the job of a head coach is to get you ready.
Yeah, because you don't have a lot of NFL prospects. I mean, so you've got to get them ready.
Yeah, we hope to get maybe an NFL prospect someday, but the chances of that are slim to none. So these guys are coming to Midland. We can't give full scholarships. We can give some nice scholarships, but these guys are they're passionate about the game of football. It's probably the biggest question we ask young men is scale of 1 to 10, how bad do you want to play college football? Because as you know, Bill, it's tough. It's a grind.
It is.
And some of those young men in our program will last 1 year, 2 years. Most though, I mean, it's just great to see that first class that we've had come in and then to see them 4 years later graduate. We do have a 4-year graduation guarantee at Midland, which is a big deal.
That is a big deal.
Because if you think about it, most people graduate in 5 years.
Oh, yeah. Some 6.
Some 6. But graduating in 4, now year 5, you're out making money compared to paying some. So we go over that in the recruiting process and say, this is one of the big deals that Midland has, that there aren't too many schools in the Midwest have it, that you graduate in 4 years.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I know, I've seen you guys stick to that. And how many kids usually graduate a year off your football team, Coach?
Yeah, it depends. I think this year we had like 23, 24.
That's good. That's a good senior class.
Because
it's hard. That's the hardest thing is keeping those kids focused for those 4 years.
Absolutely. Keeping them focused. One nice part about recruiting locally, starting in Fremont and going to
you hit Omaha hard.
Yeah, you hit Omaha hard, and so many of those guys can come and make summer workouts. That's why we've had some true freshmen play. And I think a big reason why they've been able to play is they've been able to come in the summertime and hit those workouts.
Right. Because no matter what you talk about, you know this because you come from Nebraska, but that weight room and those workouts is where you build your team. I mean, you did that for years at Nebraska, and you look at you now at Midland, and same thing with me. I always believe that's where you build your team is that off season.
No doubt. Yeah, you have to have kids that love the weight room. We got a great strength coach, Morgan Bergen.
Yeah, Morgan's there now.
Morgan's a great guy. Was graduated from University of Nebraska, trained guys for I don't know how many months it was, 9 months, something like that, down at Exos, down in Dallas, which trains most of the NFL and NBA.
Right.
So he's does a great job. We try to run our program, Bill, like a Division I program best we can. And one of the things that we fundraise for is supplements and like protein shakes and different things after workouts to get an edge, because as you know, the difference between winning and losing sometimes is so minimal, and we're trying to do everything we can to get an edge on our competition.
That's good. That's awesome. No, I know, Jeff. I remember you and Owen when you were there with the PB, and you always were, and you look what you guys, Lance, and all you guys have done. It's incredible. That's Steph. And that was great football. I remember that defensive line. You had 2 off your D line. Didn't go to the NFL, didn't you? One of them was drafted, and
I think there were a couple guys that
on that early team that you guys brought in.
Yes,
they were studs. One played for the Raiders.
Exactly. Cooper.
Yeah,
He was out of
Lincoln one.
He was. I believe Southeast. I'll never forget recruiting him and telling Pat we got to go big on this guy, because he was 6'6", 215, something like that. I just saw the potential, and that's a huge word we use, is potential of what guys can look like 3, 4, 5 years down the road.
Right.
And Chris was one of those guys that had a high motor and great get off, and did a lot of good things. And the best one for UNO is about as close as walk-on as you can get. I think we gave him a $500 scholarship, and we thought he was a good long snapper from Omaha South, Chris Bober.
Oh, yeah.
And
he
so,
had a nice career at the Giants. And
nice
Chiefs.
career. So it just goes to show you that, wow, 500 people missed.
I know both on the same team.
Yes. So
that's what helped turn you guys around a lot.
No doubt. But you just never know. And that's why it was fun when I was at University of Nebraska to be in charge of the walk-on program, and some of those guys that would get scholarships. And, people would always find it interesting, make it a big deal, like, oh, they got too many walk-ons starting. Well, you know what?
That walk-on worked his rear to get there.
He did. And, he was no stars, and he's beating out 3, 4, 5 stars.
Right.
And so it's great to see the Andy Janoviches.
Right.
And
I saw him last night on TV.
For the Browns.
Yeah.
And you can go on and on the list. I'll never forget the twins, Spencer Long, okay, and Jake Long out of Elkhorn. Spencer wasn't all conference his senior year at Elkhorn.
Right.
I'm going to say that again. He was not all conference his senior year. Walks on at University of Nebraska and started out as a D lineman. Did a good job on scout team, and then needed some more depth as on the offense. He moves over to offense. Right. And ends up being all Big Ten. Right. Ends up getting drafted. I don't know what round he went, second, third, something like that.
He went early.
And he now, had a great pro career. Made a lot of money in the NFL. Right. But again, here's a guy coming out of high school. It's 245 pounds. Wasn't highly, I think he had a partial scholarship to UNO. Okay, that's all he had on the table.
PB, that's what he gave him.
Yep, partial scholarship. And then turns out to be an all Big Ten player. So
he's one of those kids that got in and worked hard.
Yeah, absolutely. Worked hard, great attitude, and the weight room was his best friend. Right. And all of a sudden he's 305 pounds. And it's good at 305 pounds. And those are the great stories, that you love seeing.
Oh, yeah, that's neat. So when you go to Midland, when you put your offense and your defense, how did you all come up with that and put that all together, your special teams, and when you go out there, because I watch your exciting offense, and you're very vicious, you run to the ball just like you always did at UNO. So how did you kind of put that all together, the different schemes and what you do out there?
Yeah, well, special teams, I run the special teams.
Run the special teams.
And the good part about that is I have a chance to work and talk and mentor with the whole football team. That's the big upside of when a head coach takes charge. But there are some colleges where a head coach does that. Beamer is probably Frank Beamer at Virginia Tech, who was in charge of it out of Virginia Tech. Right. Everyone knows that. As far as the offense, defense, I hire a coordinator, and there are certain principles that I want, but I give them a big leash. On offense, Wes Fleming's our offense coordinator, does a really nice job with our offense. I don't know, if you look at us, we're probably, if you watch some college football, a mixture of Auburn, Oklahoma, it's a power spread offense. Okay? Right. On defense, hired Denny Honold, did a really nice job this year, first-year coordinator, came from Wayne State. I knew Dan McLaughlin well, and Dan highly recommended him, and has done a nice job. He kept most of the things, or some of the things that we did a year ago, and then he implemented, a fair amount of his scheme. The thing I was proud of this year was we didn't have spring ball. That
was hard for all you guys.
That was hard for us, and we were still able to do a lot of really good things with a brand new defense
and a new coordinator.
The tough part about this year, if there's one thing I wish we would have had, we originally had a schedule for 11 games.
I know you did.
And we couldn't play our 2 non-conference games. We were supposed to go down to Texas for our opener, and then a team from Kansas was supposed to come up and play. So I was hoping we can kind of get some of the kinks out of the way, right? And hopefully win those football games, go in with some confidence to our conference games, and then play 9 straight games. Unfortunately, they said we couldn't start playing until whatever that date was, September 12th or so. Right. And so our first game was right out of the gate. We were playing two GPAC teams. Yeah. And a couple tough losses early. Then we won 4 in a row, and then ended up losing a tough one to Northwestern. Came back, beat Doane 28-3, and finished up. Had some issues with COVID, and could not play the last game against Concordia. So we did get 8 games in. Okay. I'm blessed that we got 8 out of 9.
Right.
There was about 4 teams in our league that got 8 in. One team got 7 in, and then I think 4 or 5 got the full 9 games in. So you just look around the country. I was talking to Coach Lynn at Kearney the other day, and they scheduled I think 4 games.
How many they get?
They got 2. And
are they going to play this spring at all or not?
I don't know,
because I've heard Northwest Missouri said they're not going to do it. They're just going to do spring ball.
Right. So, yeah, you look around the country, and you just look at even college football right now. All these games are getting canceled. I'm so glad that the GPAC and Midland were able to start that second week in September.
I think that's a big mistake the Big Ten made, because you look at the SEC and the Big 12.
Right.
They're getting a lot of their games in because they got them in early before this second round went around.
No doubt.
And I think that Big Ten starting so late was a mistake.
Right. So feel blessed again that we're able to get 8 games, 8 out of the 9, and guys are able to play the sport they love. And it was a challenge. I mean, it was like Dave Gillespie, our athletic director, said, with COVID and just all the things you've had to deal with, it feels like it's a new job. I mean, it feels like it's every day's new, every day's different.
Depends what the CDC says, right?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, no doubt. So but again, there were challenges, and was proud of our football team and coaches that we were able to fight through a lot of things. And boy, people, like I told our team, we'll remember 2020.
Oh, as just the year. I mean,
absolutely.
I saw a commercial. What was Back to the Future? They had a commercial, and they said, "What year do you want to use? Just as long as we don't go to 2020, we'll be fine."
That's
There's a lot of truth to that. I mean, there is.
No
it's been one of them years where it's just never been a year like this for any of us.
No,
but been around a while like you and I have.
Exactly.
So, but how did the football team handle all this year? I mean, because it was different working out wise. You did a lot of Zoom stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, so how did everybody handle? I mean, because when you're not in front of a coach, I don't know how well I would do on Zoom. Right. Just knowing my learning ability. Right. So how did the kids and you guys, coaches, handle all that?
Yeah, I mean, it was, we talked about discipline and talk about 24/7 of being smart and wearing your mask and social distance and meetings and everything like that. And I think for the most part, we did really, really well. The other thing you have to remember, they are 18 to 23-year-olds.
That's what we talked about.
And you know what?
They're college kids.
They're college kids. So yeah, I mean, Zoom and all that stuff, I didn't even know some of that stuff existed.
Wish I'd had stock in it before this thing hit.
No doubt. But some players, do well in that setting. Some can, the virtual classes that, back to spring. Right. And then there's others that, they need to get in front of a professor. They need to be hands-on, present.
They're that type of learner.
They're that type of learner. So, hopefully it's going to make us more mentally tough. Right. Hopefully it's going to make us appreciate things in life. Right. And, I certainly a couple of weeks ago got COVID, and
I got it about 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, it knocked me out pretty good for darn near close to 2 weeks. And, and sometimes until things hit you like that, first of all, you appreciate your health. Right. You appreciate your wife more than ever. I called her Nurse Connie. Okay. But Nurse Connie, if
how's Connie? Anyway?
Yeah, she's doing awesome.
Tell her I said hello.
Well, teaching 5th grade at St. Gerald's, and but I'll tell you what, if I wouldn't have had Nurse Connie, there's a couple of days where, boy, I'll tell you what, it was rough. But you appreciate it. You appreciate your family. I really didn't publicize that I had it, but some people found out. So you really find out who your friends are, and you appreciate hearing from people that maybe you haven't heard from, just saying, hey, they're praying for you and hope you get back to normal. So, it hits everyone different.
It does. I got it. I got a fever the first day, but then it went away.
Yeah.
And then I just felt tired. I lost the smell and the taste.
Right.
So how craisy I am. I still worked out during it in my house, just trying to fight through it.
Only you would be working out when
But I'm not right. He'll tell you I'm not right mentally. I've been hit in the head too many times. So
that's beautiful.
But anyway, but I know I'm very great. But it's a weird feeling. It's not. I've had the flu before. I've had bronchitis. I've never had anything. It was just different.
Yeah, I've been sick before, but just not this long.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's what I'm. Yeah, it was just different. It was longer than because
Yeah.
I'm usually if I get sick, I'm out 2 or 3 days.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's different.
So, yeah.
The teams all recovered and everything from it because you had a little bit of an outbreak, right?
Yeah, a little bit, but not too bad. But yeah, everyone's.
Did they get any effects from it? The kids that get a lot of times you hear they don't even know they have it.
Yeah, again, most of it, the symptoms weren't too bad. Some guys that did have it, and then probably the biggest thing about besides if a player gets it is just all the contact tracing.
Right, that's the hard.
That's the one of. I mean, look at the Broncos, right? The one quarterback, and then those 4 quarterbacks around him without a mask, more than 15 minutes.
Yeah.
So then all of a sudden they're out. So then how it impacts the team. So that's what's happened in college football. Some of those positions have been wiped out.
Right.
Whether it be O-line, D-line, corners, one guy gets it, or knows, or it could be someone not even on the team. And they go back to that contact tracing and sitting out for that number of days.
Yeah,
is huge.
that's what happened to Ohio.
Yeah.
Barry's sons play for him, and that's what happened. He said that's the deal. They had nobody to play defensive line Saturday, so they had to cancel the game because it's contact tracing.
Absolutely.
So
yeah.
I said, I don't know. Did you wear the watches or the bands like they do in the SEC and the NFL, or how do they do the contract tracing like for you guys?
We don't have that budget, okay, Bill.
I didn't know.
No, you're good. But no, they ask questions and
they follow
through. Yep, yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So everything going good at Midland? Then you enjoy. I mean, you've done a nice job there, turning that thing around and doing a lot of positive things. You and Dave both have.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. I've really enjoyed it. Get up every day, and you have the support from the administration. That doesn't happen at every place.
No, I know that.
Like I said, our president. When we have recruits, she's available. She comes over, talks to them. She's very visible in the community. She's been in the business world, so she gets the outside world really well, and obviously the academic world. But it's been fun. It's been a challenge. Like Dave mentioned when I took the job, he goes, "This is probably the toughest job you ever have." But I will say this, along with sometimes being the toughest is also the most rewarding.
Right.
And so it's been fun to see guys, winning football games. Again, we got to take the next step and putting a ring on our finger.
Yeah.
But I've really enjoyed it. Football's football. And a lot of people make a big deal of, whether it's Division I. I mean, I've coached at every level except Division III.
Because you coach Division II.
Yep, I've been at every level except Division III. And you know what, Bill?
I don't think there's much difference between D3 and NAI. It's pretty close.
With what?
The NAI and D3. Those guys work like NAI coaches do.
Oh yeah, or Division II partial scholarships. Right. We get partial scholarships, so it's really interesting. Someone told me a long time ago, make wherever you're at the big time.
Right.
Don't worry about the next job. Just worry and do a really good job at the place you're at. But I'll tell you what, before the football game, I don't care how many people are in the stadium. I get knots in my stomach. It's the most grueling 3 hours that you're ever going to have.
It don't matter what field you're on.
Or whether you're coaching against Oklahoma.
Right.
Okay. Whether you see 90,000, it's all about wanting to do a great job for the kids.
Right.
The competition, the competitive spirit, doesn't matter what it is.
Right.
We want to win and do it the right way, and have fun doing it. You got to have fun, and we try to have fun with our players. That's why one of the first things I did when I got the job at Midland, in the locker room, you've been there. We had a pool table. That was it. But first thing, went out and got a ping pong table, shuffleboard, and foosball. So we want our players to come over to the locker room, have fun,
relax a little bit,
play.
Right.
Play against the coaches, play against the players.
Right.
Fortunately, I've only lost one time in ping pong, so I'm pretty happy so far.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, almost didn't offer Austin Harris a scholarship, kid out of Millard West. I don't know if you know Brent.
Well, Brent.
Yeah, you know Brent. Yeah, Brent. Austin beat me.
Austin did beat you.
Yeah, I about didn't offer him a scholarship too.
So he's your starting tight end now.
Yeah, he's a good player.
Yeah, he's done a nice job
really
for
good
you.
Player. Yeah.
Shoot. Gosh dang it. There are a lot of good things there, but I tell you, And I think the guy that really helped get that Midland back going again was Ben Sass, our senator.
Right.
Because he was there before that gal was there, and he did a nice job getting it back on the track. Because Dana closed,
Yes.
and he did a good job getting it back on the tracks. Because it was, we both were in that same boat at that time.
Yeah, that's what I heard. And yeah, Ben, I've heard really good things. I met him one time.
He's a good man.
Yeah, I heard he really got Midland, on the forefront.
Yeah.
And then President Horner's come in and
took it
elevated
next
as well.
yeah.
And so it's been a good situation.
Yeah, it is. Well, I was a pro wrestler, right?
Oh yeah.
That's when I first met you. We got to finish up with the old hush here. The old thing I used to ask for money or food, not necessarily in that order. You ready? On 3, 1, 2, 3. Hush, hush, hush. See y'all next week.